circle. It is useful for converting degrees to radians and helpful in trigonometry. This line represents 0 degrees and 0 radians. This line represents 30 degrees, or pi over 6 radians. This line represents 45 degrees, or pi over 4 radians, with this line representing 60 degrees, or pi over 3 radians. This line is 90 degrees, or pi over 2 radians. This line is 120 degrees, or 2 pi over 3 radians. This line is 135 degrees, or 3 pi over 4 radians. And this line is 5 pi over 6 radians, or 150 degrees. This line is 180 degrees, or pi radians. This line is 7 pi over 6 radians, or 210 degrees, with this line being 5 pi over 4 radians, or 225 degrees. This line is 4 pi over 3 radians, or 240 degrees. This line is 3 pi over 2 radians, or 270 degrees, with this one being 5 pi over 3 radians, or 300 degrees, and this one being 7 pi over 4 radians, or 315 degrees, and this one being 11 pi over 6 radians, and 330 degrees. And then finally, this line is also 2 pi over 2 pi radians, or 360 degrees. The way you use this in trigonometry is quite simple, really. For any angle, the sine value is equal to the y value at which the radian intersects the circle. For example, the sine of 30 degrees is equal to 1/2. Or the cosine, which is equal to the x value at which the radian intersects the circle. For example, the cosine of 3 pi over 4 would be negative square root of 2 over 2. Simple, really. For example, say the tangent of 4 pi over 3 radians would be the sine value over the cosine value. So that would be negative square root of 3 over 2 and negative 1/2, which would be rad 3. One easy trick you can use to remember this is that around the circle the angles go 30, 45, 60, 60, 45, 30, 30, 45, 60, 60, 45, 30, and all 30-degree angles, which is these four, are the same. They have the same sine, the same cosine, and the same tangent, with the exception that positive or negative. For example, in quadrants 1 and 2, the y value would be positive, meaning the sine value is positive in quadrants 1 and 2, whereas in quadrants 1 and 4, the cosine value is positive. And in quadrant 3, only the tangent value is positive, because the tangent is y over x, sine over cosine. Therefore, a negative divided by a negative equals positive. But for any 30-degree angle, the sine is equal to positive or negative 1/2, the cosine is equal to positive or negative rad 3 over 2. For any 45-degree angle, the sine is equal to positive or negative rad 2 over 2, and the cosine is also equal to positive or negative rad 2 over 2. For any 60-degree angle, the sine is equal to positive or negative rad 2 over 2, and the cosine is equal to 1/2, positive or negative. And a simple way to remember which quadrants are positive and which quadrants are negative for sine and cosine is all students take calculus. For example, in quadrant 1, A, all values are positive. In quadrant 2, S, sine is positive, cosine and tangent are negative. In quadrant 3, only tangent is positive, cosine and sine are negative. And in quadrant 4, only cosine is positive, tangent and sine are negative. One easy way to remember the angles is to use the hand trick. For example, this would be 0 degrees, or radians, pi over 6 radians, or 30 degrees, pi over 4 radians, or 45 degrees, and pi over 3 radians, or 60 degrees, and pi over 2 radians, or 90 degrees. For example, the cosine of a 30-degree angle would be rad 3 over 2. cosine of a 45 degree angle would be rad 2 over 2, and the cosine of a 60 degree angle would be 1 over 2. Whereas the sine of a 60 degree angle would be rad 3 over 2. The sine of a 45 degree angle would be rad 2 over 2, and the sine of a 30 degree angle would be 1 over 2. The rule to this is that it's cosine over sine, and all values are divided by 2. Pretty simple, really. So in conclusion, this has been the unit circle. It's useful for trigonometry and converting degrees to radians. The easy way to convert degrees to radians is if you have a degree value, you multiply by pi over 180, and if you have a radians value, you multiply by 180 over pi, because pi is equal to 180. But this has been the unit circle. Thank you for watching this video.